I'd like to start with a little story about a man who was selling eggs. So, in the morning, he would set a sign, dozen large eggs, 250. 10 minutes later, he would peek out and he would discover his neighbor with a sign, dozen eggs, 225. So he quickly erased the number and changed it to pounds flat. 5 minutes later, looks out again, says 175. So he decided to drop the price again, and he put 150. 5 minutes later, guess what? 125. At that point, he wouldn't go down any further, so he decided to cross the street and have a friendly chat with a neighbor. So as he walks in, he says, how can you do it? You can't be selling below the right price. The guy said, you know what? In fact, I don't sell any eggs. But the customers are coming in for the eggs, and they almost always live with something else. So this little story gives you a bit of an insight of what price intelligence is. And we wish it would be as simple as looking across the street at a neighbor. But in reality, it's slightly more complex. So any price intelligence solution today basically consists of three major components, logical components. One is at the setup stage, where your as a retailer products are being mapped and matched to the competition across different sites. Then the engine, or the scrapers, the crawlers are being set up to bring all this information from different sites. And then at the next stage, these crawlers start to run. Basically, they bring all the necessary information, they store it inside, they generate all the necessary alerts and triggers so that you can take action. And at the last block, basically, it shows the information to you, be that in some kind of a online user interface, or by providing a dump of raw data, which you can later use with your business intelligence. So you may ask yourself, well, why do you care about price intelligence at all? And the answer is very simple. You care because your customers care. Now, at the beginning of the session today, there was a bit of a discussion of what drives buyers and how we attract buyers. But the truth is that most of the consumers consider the price and not anything else to be a most critical factor in the purchasing decision that they make, whether you like it or not. Now, because of this, a very considerable amount of retailers consider the price sensitivity of consumers to be one of the top challenges for their business. And I'm sure that many of you view it in the same one. And because of this, about 76% of online retailers are going to increase the frequency of the price change in the coming year. So the question is, how frequently really prices really change? And the answer is, on average, price for a product will change about twice a week. Of course, it depends where. There are verticals where the prices don't change that drastically. If you take toys, they will not be changing even in a week. But in some verticals, they will be changing 3-4 times a day, like electronics or computers. And this is even before I'm talking about any marketplaces where, by nature of marketplaces, the price can be changing literally every 5 minutes. But we conducted the research during the previous year, Black Friday, and we've seen some amazing stuff. You can buy the very same product on the very same day, on the very same site, say Amazon, with a discount of about 30%. Just choose your timing. So regardless if you're online or offline, if you carry more than just a few hundreds of SKUs, and if the products that you are selling are not exclusively branded to you and sold only by you, and especially if you're positioned in one of the verticals which are highly prone to price intelligence, which are shoes, clothing, accessories, electronics, computers, or some unexpected categories like car parts, tires, in this case, you should be considering a good price intelligence solution. So, a good price intelligence solution should give you this. First of all, a consistent pricing strategy. Consistent doesn't necessarily mean you have to be the cheapest. No. but you have to be consistent. If you decide that you're going to be 10 or 20% more expensive than a certain competitor, fine, be it. If you decide that you will have a certain loss leaders among your products, that's okay. Just make sure you're not left behind while the whole market moves and you are still with the same prices. So, the next very important thing, naturally, when you have good and consistent pricing strategy, your conversion to sale grows because your audience, your consumers know that the prices are reasonable and they will remain within the same framework. Now, another thing which is important is capitalization on some opportunities. When your competition runs out of stock on something, that's the golden opportunity for you to bring the price back up and earn back some of this precious margin you've lost because you might have been pressed to decrease prices. All of this is provided by a good marketing intelligence. And one more interesting thing, showrooming. When we walked in the morning, I think on the second slide, what you said was showrooming. I'm sure this is not foreign to all of you. But actually, if you have good price intelligence and you deliver it to the person in store, then a very good chance that a salesperson in a brick and mortar location will be able to counter the price or give some other offer, which might not be based on price, but in order to give this offer and in kind of a logical way to address showrooming, you need to have this information available at your fingertips. So whether you want to set it up or if you have set it up already, there are a few dilemmas you're going to be facing with any price intelligence solution. First of all, it's who's going to do it? Are you going to do it in-house or are you going to outsource and let somebody else do it? It's largely a question of specialization and scale. So if you have a few thousand products and you want to scan 1,000 of them and you want to do it every day across 5 competitors, that's about 5,000 pages to look at. So either you will have to have a few good teams doing that, or you will have to build some kind of a sophisticated software solution to do it in an automated way. Now, manual approach versus automated approach is kind of a tricky thing. There are solutions out there that offer complete automation of price intelligence, but the truth is that especially at the setup stage, it doesn't really work. Because when you start matching products across different sites, it can become really, really tricky. Matching digital cameras is not a big deal, but when you have to match toys, or if you have to match 2 pairs of shoes, or some kind of clothing, this is when it becomes really complex and some expertise is required. Never mind complex products, things like laptops, where the price really differs according to the combination of components that you have inside. So at the initial stage, you probably will need some kind of manual intervention. Of course, during the whole processing stage, it should be completely automated as it runs, and then at the end of it, you need to have some kind of a QA process. Because if you don't QA your data, the precision of it is going to suffer and it's going to deteriorate pretty quickly. The last but not least, you will have to decide whether you want to host it or you want to put it on the cloud. Again, it's the question of control that you want to exercise versus the ability to build it and scale it. So regardless of what the decision is, when you go for this solution of price intelligence, here are 10 points that you should consider as you choose your solution and your provider. And these 10 points can really make a difference between a fail and sale in price intelligence. First is the quality of data. And the quality of data can roughly be split into 2 parts. It's the precision and the coverage. Precision basically means whether you match apples to apples, whether your products are correctly mapped to your competition. But the coverage is not less important. If you have 1,000 products and you successfully manage to match 5 out of 1,000, which is great, but if out there was some 800 more and you just skip them, this is not a very good quality of pricing intelligence. That's what coverage means. So you have to take care of both of the precision and of the coverage. So far, I'm talking about prices all the time, but pricing intelligence is not only about price. It's also about collecting the availability of products. It's collecting the shipping charges. It's collecting the promotions information. This is the kind of information that allows you later to use and leverage on these opportunities when the competition runs out of stock. Again, it's the expertise of being able to match similar or look-alike items which the solution should support. If your products are slightly more complex than matching with television sets, then the solution should provide the ability to match look-alike items. And this is tightly related to the quality control. I mentioned it before. The data of prices and data of products is very, very dynamic. And the quality of data is important not just at the stage of a setup. When you set everything up, you verify that it runs smoothly. No, you will actually have to make sure that the data is correct throughout the whole time during the whole process. And if you don't do it, then you will see that in about 2 months, the quality of your data will deteriorate by about 15%. So you will start losing links and prices if you don't constantly maintain your system, and in many cases you will have to adjust, or your solution will have to adjust these scrapers as the sites go and change themselves. Now, a great degree of flexibility is needed in ability to choose competitors. Again, there are solutions out there which basically says, we take your products, we match it to a set of 10 or 50 sites, we give you the idea of your pricing. But you may have specific competitors in your field on top of Amazon, which everybody wants to see. So you should be able to choose your competition, not only in the beginning, but as you go by, because obviously your competition changes and evolves all the time. Same flexibility relates to the volumes of products you're going to compare. So there are not too many sites and retailers out there that would need 500,000 products, for example, but some of them would. Now again, if you would have 500,000 products, I would ask you how you're going to use the data and whether daily scans of a 500,000 product can be effectively used, unless, of course, this solution is plugged in directly into your e-commerce platform and enables you to change the prices automatically. But regardless if you need to scan 500,000 products or 1,000 products, you should be able to scan whatever amount you have. Same goes about the frequency of scan. So the standard will be checking the prices every day. And of course, your solution should support it. Now, in some cases, it can be more sparse. For example, as with toys that I mentioned before, probably if you scan toys, you would need to do it more than once a week. But if you decide for some reason to do it every half an hour, you should be able to do so. As I mentioned before, as we looked at the movement of prices during the Black Friday, half an hour or an hour was an appropriate time frame to understand what's going on. I want to pause on this item for a moment. Cross-border trade is a fact of life. So yes, we are in the UK and we're talking about local market, but about 28% of all the sales made here in the UK last year were made across border, not from UK countries. So when you compare your prices, you should understand that your competition is not only local. So out of these foreign deals made across the border, about 40% were to the US, slightly below 30 were to Germany, about 19 were to China. So when you do this price comparison, make sure that your system can support bringing this information across countries, across languages, and across currencies. And of course, you want the currencies to be converted on the rate of the same rate. A very strong feature that a price comparison solution, a price intelligence solution can provide is being able to rely on structured data. So that when you later analyze your analytics, you will not only understand what happens with your vertical of electronics or your digital cameras, but you can actually dissect your televisions by screen size and manufacturers and technologies. In order to provide this, your solution should rely on some kind of a structured data underneath. to allow this dissection. And the last but not least, whoever does it to you, or if you do it in-house, make sure that people that manage the system understand content. Content is a very unique knowledge, and you probably know you have to understand what you're doing. You have to understand the differences between products, otherwise it will not be apples to apples, and then it will not be a good solution for you. So choose your solution when the people that do it actually know what they're doing and understand content. This is pretty much it. Thank you very much. A great price intelligence solution can really make a difference between a good business and a great business. And a great intelligence solution can make a difference between a sale and failure. Thank you very much. We would like to have some questions.